Hello everyone, welcome back to another YouTube video. Been a while, huh? Anyways, to nobody's surprise, we're gonna do another Dabi Speed Paint today. This is a piece I've been sitting on for a while. The inspiration behind this was a TikTok audio actually. And I don't really know if I could describe it in a way that people would actually know what I was talking about, but it was just basically this one song, and one verse was very descriptive of the life that I feel like Hawks from My Hero Academia had, and one verse was very descriptive of the life that I think Dabi from My Hero Academia had, and they like overlaid the two verses, and it just kind of made me think about how opposite they are in terms of their personal stories. I know some people like ship them or whatnot. I'm not gonna get into that. This is nothing to do with that. I just think their stories are really good complements of each other, or juxtaposition of each other. So anyways, this piece is Dabi's piece, and then this piece is several months old. However, I'm still working on Hawks' piece. Obviously, to no one's surprise, I haven't had a lot of time to do personal projects, so that's why not much has been getting done, and why Hawks' alternate piece has been taking so long. However, today we're going to look at Dabi's because I think even on its own it's a pretty good piece, so let's just get right into it. Alright, and this is the piece we're going to be looking at today. Ta-da! I tried to use my color wheel knowledge in this one, can you tell? But anyways, I'm very happy with this piece, even though it's semi-old for me. In terms of skill, I feel this is a good representation of where I was and where I feel I still kind of am, in terms of just like what I could produce. But anyways, I really like this piece. I'm very proud of it. Probably one of the pieces I like to show people the most when I'm talking about how I'm an artist, and I'm like, yeah, I draw a little bit, and then this is probably one of the pieces I show. It does have a little bit of gore, and I do apologize for that. I feel it was a necessary component of the overall piece. I don't think it's excessive, but I do apologize if that's disturbing to any viewers. But yeah, this is the piece we're gonna look at today. Also, this was the piece that made me like really figure out how I wanted to do fire, specifically his fire, as someone who draws Dabi a lot, and especially draws Dabi's quirk. I really have needed to figure out how to do fire because, I mean, obviously, it's a very important thing to know how to draw when you're drawing this character, in my opinion. So I felt this piece was really a piece that helped me really hone in on my way of drawing fire and how I do it. So we're gonna take a look at the time lapse together. Alright, so for this piece, I started out with a reference picture, which is, funnily enough, something I don't do that often. I really wanted to just get better at anatomy and proportions, and I felt this was a good way of doing it, and also dynamic poses. I felt a lot of my pieces up until this point have felt a little stagnant, and I wanted to change that. So I put the reference image up in the corner, but I also started out with the reference image, and then I mannequinized over it, and once I got that, I kind of just, did my thing. This is me putting my own hands in as references because we all know the drill, guys. I can't do hands for shit. And you know what? My hands have been quite the troopers for the references, in my opinion. They've really, really come in clutch when I needed them to. Anyway, so I finished the sketch quite quickly, and honestly, the line art was pretty strong already. And if you saw that flash of Hawks, it was basically me trying to I wanted the body positions to like directly conflict with each other. And so that's why they look the way they do. Because I kind of had the idea of putting it like, if you've ever seen a face card of like a card deck, like how if it's like a queen, it's split in half, and then each of the queens are facing like away from each other. I wanted to kind of do that, that like split and complementing each other, and the composition kind of directly tying in with each other. So that's why I put in Hawks real quick. I also, if you can't tell, change the background color a lot of times when I do his hair, because I just can't see this really light gray on white. I just can't do it. So I apologize for the flashing back and forth, but when I was doing the bone and when I was doing his hair, I just couldn't see anything, so I needed to change the background color. I originally did his wings in black because I posted just the sketches on my TikTok, and I wanted people to know that there were two art pieces that go together, so that's why the fires were initially in black, and I believe I redo the fire, because I didn't like how I did this. I agree with my past self. I can't tell you why exactly I don't agree, or I don't like how I did this, but I just didn't, so I believe I redo these flame wings later, but we'll get to that. Right now we're just texturing the skin. One thing I really like about specifically drawing Dabi and his color palette is I love, and it's probably just my process, but let me know if other artists who draw him have the same experience, but I really love when I have blocked out the hair, all of the colors, and I just have his white hair, and I put in the eyelashes, and so it's this like nice soft gray with these brilliant electric blue eyes, and then having like his beautiful like black eyelashes that just frame the eye perfectly. I don't know, I just love that moment. I just think it's just like a very pretty, it's like when you're just like sitting next to someone and you look over and all of a sudden you just like happen to notice that they have like the world's best eyelashes. It just kind of reminds me of that moment. I don't know, that's really hyper specific, but anyways, moving on. Alright, and now you can see that like muscle texture that I'm building up, starting to happen over here, and just like all these smaller details, but that I that's how art is. You just slowly build this up. I've also started to really like textured brushes and brushes that are capable of layering. I used to not really have a preference what brush I used, but I've taken several like traditional art classes, and I've started to get more comfortable a while ago, but I kind of have come back to traditional art again, and I kind of have realized I really like the brushes and things that I can layer and build up over time, instead of having just like to put whatever I need, or put whatever like the brush is down and then just hope. I like being able to build it up a lot more. So I've kind of started experimenting with some brushes that do that for me. I don't believe this piece showcases any of them, because I didn't really know. I kind of tried to make the illusion of it with shading instead of finding a different brush, which works in a sense, but it kind of, it could be better if I just use a brush that has more capability of layering. Anyways, I am very happy with the pants. I could be wrong, but I believe his pants are leather, or at least something that looks very similar. And so that's kind of what I was going off of, is that shiny, almost like motorcycle jacket leather. And so that's kind of like the reference I was using for his pants, and I'm very happy with his pants. I don't know, something clicked for me a while ago about how to do clothing. I don't really like doing clothing all that much. It's kind of a little bit complicated for me. And like sometimes I would rather be texturing and shading skin than clothing. However, a little bit ago, clothing kind of just like clicked for me, and now I'm very confident in it, and I really like the outcome of the clothing that I draw now. And I feel this piece was kind of the start of that. And so I'm very, very happy with his pants. It's kind of a random thing to be proud of, like in this whole piece. It's like, oh, you know what I like? The pants. But that's just how these pieces go. It's kind of hard to see, but I actually, in this piece, I kind of tried to have some of his hair like above his ear to be kind of burned almost. Like I wanted it to be shaved off almost, singed. That's the word I'm looking for. Singed. It's kind of hard to tell in the end, but it's there. If you guys want, it's up on my Instagram. If you want to go zoom in and see that I did that little detail, you totally can, but it is there, and I did try my best. This is me doing the shoes. Again, I am not estimating. I am guessing what the shoes are made of, and I'm assuming it's some sort of leather. Again, he just seems very, like a kind of guy who would wear leather stuff all over, which to me is a little confusing because I feel like with his quirk it would be really hot, and so leather would just be like feel kind of gross, but he's got to be edgy, so it's very hard. It's a little bit hard to see. I wish these time lapses like zoomed into what I was looking at the time, so it's not just like this big picture for the whole time, but alas, we get what we get. But I'm doing the bone, and any kind of like white color I just kind of did all at once, because the bone and the belt and the color of his staples were all very similar, so I just kind of textured them all, did it all at the same time. This is me messing around with shadows and stuff. I'm a huge believer that shadows really make a piece, and highlights, but it just really helps add that depth and richness, and I feel like it's very needed. This was me figuring out what the heck to do for the background. I did not know what to do. I was having such a hard time. As I said, there I go, redoing the wings, because I just was like, nah, these wings, they're not cutting it. This is how I do fire. There's no rhyme or reason to it, really. It's just kind of scribbling and erasing and liquefying and adding different hues of blue and all that good stuff. So if you're curious how I do it, I suppose I can put a tutorial, but there's not much to tell you other than just put stuff down and until it kind of looks okay. But I finally figured out what to do for the background here. I am sorely lacking in my background capabilities, so that's always great. I'm trying to improve. Obviously this piece was me trying to improve, but I love how I had to take everything away to be able to do just the little fireball in his hand. And then of course lighting, because it's very important that he has lighting. Fire emits light, so that was like kind of step one. I also wanted him to look almost like celestial, I think and like glowing. And now we're back here. This is, that's how I did it. A little higher quality for you, so it's not blurry and you can see all those nice details. But yeah, we can even zoom in here, and you still can't even see it because of the eye fire, whatever you want to call it, but his hair is ever so slightly singed right here. Of course, the computer does butcher the quality a little bit, but yeah, we have his windpipe, I believe. The tendon that helps hold your neck up. There, you can see it right there. We can go in here and look at the rib cage. I've actually had to draw a rib cage for my anatomy class when I took it, so this was not my first time drawing a rib cage, which I don't know if that's a flex or not. I'm gonna take it as one. Here are the pants, and his boot. I really like. I added the highlight to his individual laces, because in my experience with laces, they can get quite like lost in themselves, and unless you add some sort of any different color to kind of break it up. So that's what I did. And I added light where I thought it might be shining through. It's hard to see, but there is actually a glow right here. It's just a little bit overshadowed by this fire. Alright, and that concludes today's speed paint. I know it was a little bit long, I do apologize, but that piece, I don't remember how long it took me, but I do believe it was in the double digits in hours, so I don't want to make up a number and tell you the wrong thing, but I do believe it was about in the double digits for hours. So thank you so much for watching. I will be back later with another YouTube video, and of course I am most active on my Instagram and my Twitch account, and so if that is something that you guys would like to see, I do lots of gaming over on Twitch, and you guys should come say hi. But that's kind of all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be back next time. Bye guys.